Hi and welcome to the channel. Today we are going to build another SFF PC using the Shiny Snake L300.
The L300 mesh is compatible with ITX motherboards, up to 60mm air cooler, not compatible with AIOs, 325mm 2.75 slot GPUs, but it gets smaller at 315mm in length if you have a top fan. SFX and SFXL PSUs, two 120mm slim fans, one at the top and one at the front, and one 2.5-inch drive at the front. It doesn't sit well against the Meshroom S and S400, but considering the dimensions at around 9 liters with stand and just 253.8 square centimeters desk space, this is a good space saver.
So as compared to the past, like the S400 where there is no branding, in here you can see that it is a Shiny Snake, which is interesting. Inside the box, there are lots of foams and padding as well. There is a riser, but I don't know which one did I buy.
While it says here that the included riser is 185mm, the included one is just 140mm, which is what we need anyway.
This is the case itself. It's quite tall. So at the front, you can see that there is a USB-C, two USB-A, and power switch. At the sides, there's nothing much other than the mesh panel. Behind, there's a cutout for the motherboard and cutout for the PSU. Underneath, there's a cutout for the GPU. Let's try to open this. So to open the side panels, you need 2 screws on each side. Anyway, if you hear any clickety-clackety, that's my son playing. Things fell out. There's an installation manual, which is nice. We'll look at this later. There's an included right angle cable, which is needed because you can't fit usual HDMI cable there. Then there's the accessory kit. Inside, screws, PCIe covers, which is appreciated. Another set of screws and zip ties. And yeah, that's it. As for the cables, it has the front panel IOs, such as the USB-C, USB 3, and the power switch. Seems like it's power switch and power LED. There's no extension cable because we'll mount the SFX PSU directly here. So I forgot to press the record button. I have removed the side panel, which was secured by 2 screws here, and the 2 fan brackets, which was secured by 4 screws, 2 on each side. So it was like this. So there were 2 screws here and on the other side as well. And then this one as well, it was originally here, and then there were 2 screws on each side. The good thing about this is that they're identical, so you can interchange those. No need to worry which one was in the front and which one was on the top. So as for the components, I'll be using this Asus B650E-I. Processor is the Ryzen 7 7800X3D. RAM is the G.Skill Trident Z5 Neo, 32GB, 6000 megatransfers, CL30 RAM. And then I have pre-plugged, or actually not yet unplugged, the power cables. So this came from the previous build, K101. So I just haven't unplugged it yet. This one is the Thermalright AXP90-X53. So you could actually fit a bigger cooler such as the IS55 from ID Cooling, but it's not compatible with this setup, unfortunately. So this is the best cooler that I can get for now. I think plugging the 24-pin before installing the motherboard is a good call because it's too tight there. So for the fan, I'll untie this and plug it there. There you go. Make sure it's stuck inside. Now it's time to screw the motherboard to the case. So there are a bunch of screws. Use the one with the crown, I guess. Need 4 of those. So next step is to install this thing, which is the riser. Oh, it's kind of stiff and it's sticky. It has tape for some reason, double-sided tape. So let's see how we can install that. I'll secure one side first. So from here, this side. So from this side, right? I'll secure it first here using the screws provided. I just noticed that one is black and one is white, which is interesting. Okay, I'll just screw it here, then the other one here, then plug this here. That doesn't sound good. But it's secured now. I think I'll install the fan cable there. There's a splitter, so install it here at the top. So I'll proceed with the PSU. As for the PSU, this is the FSP Dagger Pro 850 watts volt power supply. I have pre-plugged the PCIe 5 cable. So plug the motherboard here. You might want to plug this power cable as well, which will go here. Next to screw is the power supply. Time to plug the front panel cables. USB-C, USB 3, front panel switch. Flipping to the other side. There are screws here. So remove these covers. So this will attach directly to the baffle because there's no like guard here. So I would want to test fit my graphics card. So as for the graphics card, I am going to try to install this Gigabyte RTX 4070 Ti Super. The term is try because it is 2mm off on this side. So meaning I might not be able to close the side panel. So I'll try it first now. Let's line it properly. Oh, you have to open this. Yep. Looks like it will fit. So as for this guy, I might be able to squeeze it here at the front. Okay. It fits. The next question is, will the fans hit the side panel? But it fits just right. For now, I'll try to fit in the cable there at the top so that it won't hinder the fan that will be here soon. Let me try that. So time to plug this here. Then time to install this again. Yep, it's better there because if you route it down below, might have no space for the fans later on. Then time to install this thing. So the last few bits will be installing the fans. Based on Shiny Snake's diagram, you have to install this in exhaust mode. Let me try to simulate that first. So it will be like this, right? So meaning it will be like this. Yep, let's try that. Secure it first. This side should be like this. So it should be like this. Put it here, then secure it. I found my extension cable, plug it here, then plug it to the other side. Problem here is mashing these cables together. Make sure that the fans are spinning. I'll try to close this to see if there are issues. But what's really important is the graphics card side. Let me screw the fans first before I forget. There's not even a bulge. So before I close up the last panel, I have to try this out first. It booted successfully. The graphics card fit just right. The fans didn't hit the side panel, so time to close the last side panel now. One more thing though, it included a right angle display port, which is nice. I also tested it. It fits just right for transparency. As you can see, you cannot see it, which means that it is hidden properly. Yep, here, which is nice, right? Time to close the case by securing the last 2 screws, and the build is done. Time to test this.
For testing, I tried 4 configurations. The manufacturer recommended config with all exhaust and then its permutations. All intake, top exhaust with front intake, and top intake with front exhaust. As for the temps while benchmarking Cinebench R24 for 30 minutes, the temps averaged at 89.37 degrees Celsius with an all exhaust config and 90.3 degrees Celsius for the other configurations. That's definitely hotter than the rest of the pack, but keep in mind that we are using an air cooler like the K101 mesh, thus the similarity in performance. As for the CPU temps while benchmarking FF15 in 4K for 30 minutes, the all-exhaust layout averaged at 72.24 degrees Celsius. The all-intake config together with the top exhaust front intake config averaged at around 75 degrees Celsius, which is really hot, while the top intake front exhaust config averaged at 73.6 degrees Celsius. This is definitely the worst in the pack, but also do note that this also has the smallest CPU cooler. As for the GPU temps, the all-exhaust config averaged at 68.92 degrees Celsius, the all-intake config averaged at 72.07 degrees Celsius, the top exhaust front intake config at 69.74 degrees Celsius, and the top intake front exhaust config at 70.65 degrees Celsius. The all-exhaust config is at par with the best K101 config, and also not that far with the Meshroom S. I was looking hard at this chart to see some correlation, but nothing comes to mind. The GPU was similarly upright like the Meshroom S, but Meshroom S has a positive pressure with its rad as intake. The other upright GPU config here is the fractal mode, and that performed really well without the dust filter. I guess it comes down to the distance between the panel and the mesh perforation. Also mind you that I tested this with an out-of-spec GPU. It is just 2mm difference, but it's still out of spec. Again, I did an average on average results. The L300 still lands at the bottom beyond 70 degrees Celsius on average. The other side of the story here is that I haven't really maximized the CPU cooler this time around unlike the other builds. And so the CPU performance was really subpar. I do hope to see CryoRig C5 CPU cooler and hope that there's still hope for this build to be better overall. As for the recommended config, that will be the manufacturer recommended one, which is an all-exhaust config. It is at least 1.5 degrees Celsius cooler than other configuration. For the buyers, I suggest using a 65-watt TDP CPU to manage heat. Having a heat that can't be managed can definitely affect GPU temp performance. Do note that this is within operation operating temps, but if you just want a cooler performance overall, I suggest to undervolt or get a cooler CPU if you don't want to mess around with undervolting. As for my comments to the case, other than the meh thermal performance, I can't really think of a negative comment. It was able to fit in a slightly out of spec GPU, the build was overall easy, the fan mounts are really easy to handle, the switches are at the front unlike S300 and S400, which in my opinion is better. It included an L-type DisplayPort which can easily route behind the keys, and it is a way simpler solution as compared to the Meshroom S. If I have just one wish, maybe a CPU cooler compatibility at 67mm. I think fitting an EXP120-X67 for a gaming-oriented case should be the minimum. This will increase the volume by just 0.5 liters and 13 square centimeters in area, which is acceptable in my opinion. However, overall, I would still say that I'm neutral about this case. On one hand, I think this questions the existence of Meshroom S. Sure, the compatibility isn't that great, but just look how tiny it is, and because it is less convoluted in terms of compatibility, the build was just super simple and straightforward. On the other hand, this case still costs 7,800 pesos, which is really expensive. Not as expensive as the Meshroom S with the riser, but still overall expensive. Also, the performance isn't stellar in my opinion. So yes, overall, pretty neutral. Anyway, that's it for this video. Do let me know in the comments below on what you think of this case. Thanks for watching. Do like or dislike, and subscribe for more unboxing, SFF builds, and benchmarks. Bye!